Good afternoon and welcome to the Embedded Executive Podcast. My name is Rich Ness. I am with Embedded Computing Design. My guest this week is Doug Kugel. He is the SVP of Operations for NTX Embedded. How you doing, Doug?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Excited.
Oh, good. Um, so the reason I wanted to have you on is actually I won't say weird one, a little different one. You used a term the last time we spoke that I was not familiar with, and I tend to think if I don't know what it is, there's a fair amount of people in the audience who don't know what it is, and that is digital transformation. So let's start there. What is your definition of digital transformation? And then we'll get into what it means to NTX.
To me, well, we tend to think about digital transformation happening in the industrial space, so specifically industrial equipment. And in 2026, certainly before I joined NTX, I had a mental model that everybody was digital, meaning that they had screens, they had an interface to interact with the equipment, and that the equipment was digitally managed by electronics and electronic systems, power systems, etc. And that's just simply not the case. There's a lot of equipment out there today that's still analog. It's still got old switches in it. It still doesn't have an interface. It's got buttons to make it work. And so when I think about digital transformation, I think about taking buttons and analog signals and systems and bringing them forward to be able to leverage the technology that's in the world today. And that means a touch interface screen, that human machine interface, the digitization of the controls and the data that you can pull out of the system through that digitization. Those are the kinds of things, that's my definition of digital transformation, taking an analog world and making it digital.
Okay, and I'm fine with that. So you're using digital in sort of the literal sense.
Correct.
Being somebody who's of a few generations back in this space, I like analog. I like dials and buttons, and when you turn a dial and it goes click, you know that you're getting an action. And when you push a
Right.
button, you know it's actually being pushed. What's wrong with that? Why do you want everybody to make this digital transformation?
I'm not sure you're much older than me, if any. Um, so, in fact, in the industrial space, you're really never going to be fully digital. You're going to have this combination of both. And for me, it's not about getting rid of the analog. It's really about how do I go and take advantage of the capabilities and the technology advances that have been made in the world, and bringing those to your solution, to your product, to make it better. Yeah, we all liked the fact that we could go to a payphone and put a quarter in it. But I think we all appreciate the fact that we have a phone in our hand, and now we have basically infinite information in our hand. And it just makes it the world a different place. And I equate this thought process to the same thing. It's not necessarily about saying it's wrong. It's just we can make things better, and we can make better experiences for our customers. We can service those customers better. We can make better product. We can make higher quality product by leveraging that technology. And that's really, I think, what we all care about is how do we get better? How do we move forward in ways that allow us to create a better experience for our customers?
At the beginning of this, what you just started to say there, I think you were alluding to what I always say. We live in an analog world. And
Yes.
at the end of the stream, it always has to be analog.
Mm-hmm.
The things you're sensing are analog. So we'll never live in a 100% digital world.
Right.
Are you in agreement with that?
100%. I think, particularly in the industrial space, at some point you're going to get push comes to shove, and it's an on-off. It's touch. It's a physical event,
I
and
was I was referring to the measurements that you're taking. Your temperature is always
yeah,
analog at the end of the day.
100%.
Your humidity, your things like that. Anything that you're measuring is analog and always comes in as analog. And the other one is your power is always analog. At the end, it's analog. And the other one that I always use, and I hate to keep coming up with these examples, but audio is
Yep.
is
Great
analog.
example. Yep.
So it's we do live in an analog world, and I'm sticking with that.
That is true. And the other part of the coin on that is that we take those analog signals and those analog events and we digitize them and we can understand them better and we can
Okay, let
manage
me
them better,
interrupt you.
interact with them better.
By making them digital, how do we understand them better?
Allows us to process information, allows us to see information, allows us perhaps to react and manage events in a different way, whether it's faster, more complex. It just allows us to go create those better and different experiences. My favorite example is leveraging what you're saying is really talking about predictive analytics and saying, if I'm an expert and I'm around the machine and I've been there for 30 years, I probably can hear something and I'm going to be able to identify it. But what about that operator that's been there for 6 months? They don't have that experience. And by digitizing those analog signals and analyzing those, and then providing feedback to the user, you can potentially bring that 30 years of experience to that 6 month operator and flag something that could be catastrophic before it becomes catastrophic. And that's really part of the beauty of that digital world is it allows you to take advantage of technology that is enhancing, not detracting from the experience.
I hate to admit it, but you're making a pretty good argument here.
Good.
Okay. So I guess this is where NTX comes in, but I also saw that somewhere, I don't know if it was you or somebody else at your company, made the claim that with this digital transformation, you can get better time to market. How are you doing that?
So I think it was me when we were talking, and we're launching a product called
I was giving
Aquilux.
you an out, but okay.
I'll own it. I'll own it. No problem. Um, I'm proud of this. I'm proud of what we've done as a company. Our vision is recognition that embedded development processes, particularly industrial embedded development processes, and really in this vein of digital transformation, um, is hard and it takes a long time. I mean, the cycle's as long as 2 years. And we've been working across our customer base, getting feedback, and we think we've landed on a way to help customers collapse that into a dramatically reduced time frame, reducing costs, reducing risk. And so we do that by taking proven building blocks, giving those to the engineer and the entrepreneur and the creator and the visionary to define a product. And you have flexibility across power, IOs, other vectors, sensors, sensor boards, and it's fairly unlimited. And as you go do that, and you go through that process, because you don't have to cycle, you can say, oh, well, I really wanted 20 IOs instead of 10. Well, it's not, you have to go get a board or buy it or wait. You just have it, and we give it to you, and you're able to do that. And after you define it in that shortened cycle time, by being able to plug it in your system and actually work it, then we're going to go and take those building blocks, those Legos, optimize it for your solution based on your definition, and we'll deliver that product to you in a reduced time cycle. And because you're working with the building blocks, there's no, you have to wait 12 weeks for the board. You just keep developing. And when you take all of these benefits together from beginning to end, we think we can dramatically shrink what is a 24-month down to a 9 to 12-month cycle and dramatically reduce costs, reduce risk, and ultimately get a better product out of it.
So it sounds like I'm starting with a vastly over-designed board, and I'm doing my development, putting together a prototype. I hand the prototype back to you, and you remove all the stuff that I didn't use, and you give it back to me. That's probably way oversimplified, but is that
No,
the idea?
but I know where you're coming from. You think about Andrino and you think about some of the big names that go and build these boards you pay $300 for. It's basically the kitchen sink, right? It's got everything on it, plus 5 other things that no one will ever need. And that's not what we're doing. It's not a monolithic solution. We actually have, when I say building blocks, it's actually a series of small boards. There's a sensor board, there's an accelerometer board, there's a power board, there's an I/O board. And if you need more, you just get another I/O board and connect it. If you need more power, you just get a power board and connect it. So by doing that, we think we're just approaching this slightly differently. It's not so monolithic and it's a little more practical. Plus, it's a lot more flexible.
But is it realistic by using this modular approach? Am I getting the same performance that I'd get in a real world after it's been designed? It sounds like you're introducing latencies and things.
There can be latency for sure. So if you're looking to go productize this and meet all the safety requirements that frequently accompany an industrial piece of equipment, no, we're actually not going to productize this for resale. This is purely an engineering vehicle. The intent is to take those known building blocks and that definition that comes from the customer and customize it to that need and get it to them rapidly so they can actually go do the things that you're talking about and meet those requirements. That's an important part of the alchemy of the process.
And what is your business model? How do you guys make money? Because I'm building one and giving it back to you. Are you handing me whatever production quantity that I want? Is that how you guys work?
Yeah, absolutely. There's two things that I think that we do that's unique. One is the idea itself and the building blocks, and the speed with which those can be delivered. But another part of this is we've got capabilities or services that we can wrap around this. There's a lot of people out there that do UX UI design. There's a lot of people that build touch panels. There's a lot of people that do control boards or control software or power systems or build motors. You're not going to find many people that are familiar with all of those things. And because of that familiarity, we can wrap those services around what you don't have or you need help with, to make sure that you reduce risk and make sure that you're successful bringing that vision to productization, ultimately to the marketplace. So I think that's one unique part of who we are and what we do. But ultimately, we're a manufacturer. And what I want to do is build product for you. And I want to do it for decades, right? It's I think one of the things people really forget, and this bothers me a lot actually, people think, oh, it's a 2 or 3 year product. Who cares? You just build it and you throw it away. No, nobody in the industrial space builds things for 2 or 3 years. You're building it for decades. And you need a partner who's going to be there for the next 2 or 3 decades that product's in the marketplace. And that's our unique value proposition is we are that person. We're going to be there, be your partner, be your strategic partner, add value for the next 2, 3, 4 decades that your product's in the marketplace.
Yeah, I think in our space people get that, and I don't think there is a confusion over the life cycle of the products. One thing I want to address, though, we've spent most of our time talking about building the hardware, but the majority of the time to put this together is putting the software together. So where do you guys come in with respect to the software?
That's that group of services we wrap around it. I think when we were talking last, there's a phrase I like to say, a lot of times when we're talking about digital transformation, you've got companies that don't have the skill sets around digital. They have electricians, sure. They've got people that are MEs, probably very, very gifted at it. But they're really not in that digital world. And so we bring a set of services that help them with that transition and get those capabilities. We can write the code for the control board. We can design the UX UI and write it and land it on the HMI. We can help you with thinking through how you design the UX UI and what is that user experience and who are the stakeholders. Those are things that we've been through and done, that we've got experience, that we combine with this product to guide you and be a partner through the process, which oftentimes is a bet the company bet, right? Hey, I've got a product that works, either through competitive pressures or vision for new opportunities. I need to go make a change, and that change can be scary and it can be complicated and hard. And we're there to reduce the complication, reduce the risk, and increase the likelihood of success.
Very good. Good deal, Doug. I think you convinced me.
I hope so.
I'm a tough one, but I'm certainly willing to give it a try. How's that sound?
That feels perfect. I will definitely get you a kit so you can play around with it. Now all you need is a cool product vision, right?
That's right. I need a little more than that, but we'll just leave it at that. That was Doug Kugel. He is the SVP of Operations for NTX Embedded, and I am Rich Nass with Embedded Computing Design.